Next up, I'd like to show you various things you can do with audio clips. And this is very similar to other DAWs you might be used to. Obviously, you can drag the clip around to position it. And the way it displays the waveform makes it quite nice for very fine positioning of that clip. Slightly different to something like a Reaper. Different things happen in different corners. So you don't have that line in the middle or the top of the clip for clip gain, but you do have this little button there, and that's a similar thing where you can attenuate or boost the clip right on the clip level. And I do a lot of my dialogue editing with just clip gain, cutting it up and setting the clip gain, which is quite a useful thing to do. Now the two corners, those are your fades. You can see it shows you on the waveform how it's fading in and fading out. Also pretty standard stuff there. But if you want to be more advanced, you can do a fade and then double click in that space next to the fade, and that is going to open this fade menu where you can change from a linear fade to another shape, and you can even tailor it with nodes over there and apply it in terms of that fade that you want to create on the clip. Now, the bottom two handles there, that is for trimming if you want to make the clip smaller, and by default also different to Reaper, it doesn't just keep on duplicating the clip when you try to drag it further to the right. That's what that button in the middle is for. So if I zoom out a bit, I can drag open this clip in full, but if I have that handle there, that's where I can loop the clip, which is useful for looping stuff if it's more of a musical project there. Then a very useful shortcut to know, I'm in my normal selector tool here, and if I hold an Alt, it becomes a cutting tool. So in Reaper, you have to kind of go to a certain place and hit S. Here, you just hold an Alt and I can cut things out without having to go to a different tool. Now, there is a cutting tool, which I'll show you, but this is a very quick way to do cuts, which is something we do quite often. So that is the basic clip behavior. If you right-click, you get all your standard tools there. But if you command right click, you get a lot of things that you can do straight on the clip level. Now, we're not going to get into many of these, but you can process it. You can flip the phase, you can change the polarity, you can do offline processing. This is the equivalent of Audio Suite in Pro Tools. I'm going to get into that in a whole video about that, but there's a lot that you can do straight here on clip level if you do that command right click on the clip, which I'm not going to get into now. Now I'm going to cut this clip in half. In fact, I'll zoom in a bit for you to see better. If you drag a clip across the other clip, the top one will play. So have a look at this. Too busy on a track here. And if I zoom, and if you want to have a crossfade, unlike Reaper where it automatically crossfades, you have to tell it, I actually want to crossfade this. So you hit X for cross, X fade, crossfade, and then you can still drag it to adjust that fade or drag where the fade lies. You can drag that or drag how long the fade takes. And similar to your fades at the edge of the clip, you can also double click on it to change the shape of both of these fades, and they don't have to be the same. So a very nice, sophisticated crossfade editor, and you get quite used to doing that quickly. So if I quickly cut this thing up and I move that there and I just hit X and they crossfade. So the last thing I want to show you on the clip level, and you'll notice things look different because I forgot to record this, so I did a pickup, and that is some nice key commands for duplicating and moving things around. Now, this is extremely useful when you're busy organizing a big AAF and you leave those originals and you're making copies onto your template. I use this all the time. So obviously when you click and drag, normally it just moves the clip. If you hold an Alt after you've clicked, remember if you first hold an Alt, it cuts, but if you click then hold an Alt, then it makes a duplicate of the clip. And if you hold in Command and drag the clip, now this is not horizontally, but rather vertically to other tracks, then it keeps it in time. If I'm not holding in Command, it is just a free-form move, but if I hold in Command, it keeps it in the same place and time. You can hold in both. So if you want to make a duplicate, click first and then hold in both, then it makes a duplicate and it keeps it exactly the same place in time. You'll see from the start here. And that's the feature I use when I have my AAF at the bottom. I hold an Alt and Command and I move things onto the right tracks, keeping them in the right place while making a copy, and I leave that original AAF at the bottom.